Welcome everyone to the Emergent Essence Dynamics webinar number 5, The Basics of Manifesting New Realities. It is March 6th. And we have joining us, we have Paul and Kirsten. And we'll have maybe some more people joining as we go along. We don't know. So welcome. So there are a lot of myths going on around law of attraction. And so I really wanted to do this webinar to help clear up some myths and give you a little bit more of a precise and rigorous way to work with this law of attraction, because it does work, but I think it's sometimes falsely represented out there in the market. And I think, in my opinion, it's represented more for people to sell their self-help books than it is for people to actually use the law of attraction, if I may be so bold. So I'd love to hear from you guys. Just what drew you into to attend the webinar? What are your thoughts on law of attraction? What do you want to get out of this? And of course, I have a whole presentation already, set up to give you guys, but I just love to know what your initial thoughts are and what you'd like to really know and learn.
Go ahead first.
Yeah.
Me?
Yeah.
I think the way it's sold out there in the most books and films, especially films, it's bullshit. So the thing is that you have to do something to get something. So energy, stay in the same packet, and so you have to get it going and then stick to it. So
okay.
Law of attraction is a lot of priming myself and see the opportunities and stay focused and persist.
Yeah.
And it's nothing magic, but of course I have to be in the right attitude and energy.
Okay. Yeah, that's great. Because I had a few points there that you're already covering on, like, so what are some of those myths out there? Yeah, it's not magic. It takes some work. Yeah. How about you, Paul? What are your initial thoughts here?
I tend to sometimes have a negative energy, and I know that attracts negative energy back. So
yeah.
I'm just trying to be more positive, seeing if I could get to that point where that's what I attract, and if this would help me with that at all.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sure it will, and that is a great point. Is what is our fundamental energy that we're sitting in, or broadcasting, or sending out? We might wish and hope and try to be positive, but if underneath that there's a fundamental belief that's contradicting what we're wishing and hoping, we're never attracting what our logical mind is broadcasting. We are attracting what our subconscious or fundamental beliefs are broadcasting. And I'm going to open that up later to show, okay, so then how can we access what's going on subconsciously so that we can, start aligning ourselves with it. And there's a few ways we can do that. Okay.
Well,
yeah. Go ahead, Kirsten.
What I would be really interested in is that if you follow that and if you talk with clients, that there is a point where you attract some good things, but also subconsciously you keep yourself with self-fulfilling prophecies and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And the distinction when there is a point where life happens and shit happens.
Yes.
So good things happen and shit happen. And the way the law of attraction is sold at the moment is that everything that happens to you has something to do with you.
Mm-hmm.
I see that in terms of learning, but guilt and shame and this mind fuck that occurs when you think the whole time, why did this happen to me? Because I attracted it. So this is something I really want to get out of that call, how to deal with that, where to cut it, and reality and attraction. So
excellent.
There are things in life that happen, and which are not good. And it's not because of your energy. It's just because somebody didn't pay attention to something or whatever.
Yeah, that's a very important thing, because I really want to get out of this positive negative thing, because it is sold a lot like good things have to happen and big things have to happen, and just put it out there. And you're right.
It's a bit like this positive psychology thing, or not positive thinking, that you create depression when you tell your client positive thinking, and then nothing good is happening. So at least what stays is, oh my God, I'm even not able to think positive.
That's right.
So you keep them in the victimizing, you keep them in guilt and shame and whatever. So this is what I find a serious problem with all that positive thinking, attraction, blah, blah, blah.
And what that ends up doing is it ends up backfiring, where the person is victimizing themselves more and manifesting more and more of that cycle. So we're addressing that on this for sure.
How to really work with the idea behind law of attraction. I wouldn't even call it like that.
Yeah.
And what to do. This is what I would like to have.
Okay, I'm going to get into that in a second, and I just want to show you guys what we're covering here in general. So this is what we're already doing. We're busting myths around the law of attraction, all right? And how it was originally sold, I believe it was sold in a naive way, like when the New Age movement started and there was this big thing and law of attraction, The Secret came out, all of that. I think only some important things. I'm not saying it was false, but I'm saying it wasn't complete, okay? It wasn't a complete package that was sold out there. And I think we interpreted it a bit naively, okay? And then it starts to backfire, and it can create that guilt and shame. What I really want to look at here around the middle of this webinar is how to create a flow states and expand your consciousness, because that is one fundamental thing about how law of attraction is working. It's from your own flow state. All right. It is not about wishing and hoping. And then I'm going to talk about how to create this intentional focus, because it's more than just envision it and it'll happen. That's only part of it. And then how you can construct a personal mantra, like a simple thought, sentence, complete idea that you can keep repeating to yourself. So you're targeting exactly where you want to direct yourself. Okay. These are the three main things that we're going to look at today. And it's quite full. Okay. All right. So I want to briefly, for those listening to the recording, I want to say, what is EED, Emergent Essence Dynamics? Paul, you're a little bit familiar with it. Kirsten, you're very familiar with it because you've taken the EED courses. And it relates to how I'm approaching this law of attraction as well. So everything we do in Emergent Essence Dynamics, whether this is coaching, leadership, mediation, or personal growth, everything is based upon fractal patterns, meaning patterns that repeat over and over again on the large and small scale. All right. So everything that's happening around us is sourced in some kind of a pattern going on. And this includes the patterns we put in motion that will start attracting things to ourselves, or what we attract ourselves towards. Okay. And so this means it's holistic because the patterns are happening everywhere. So we're not dealing with let's change a person, change a situation. We're looking at let's find what the pattern is and start shifting the pattern itself. And then the situations begin naturally changing. Okay. So we're pinpointing what's the fundamental dynamic that's driving human beings, driving situations, and all those dynamics are happening on a fundamental fractal level. Okay. Rather than focusing on transformation, what we're first doing is restoring a person's resilience, taking them out of the guilt, the shame, the obligation, the fear, the reactivity. And we're reinforcing their well-being and their autonomy. Autonomy meaning their free will, their liberation. They have sovereignty over themselves. They're not giving their power away to some other source or some other source of knowledge or source of power. They are the creator themselves, and they need ownership of that. And they have to have a direct experience to know that they are a creator of themselves. That doesn't mean they're creating shit for themselves. It means that they have power over themselves, and they're not, it takes them out of this victim mentality, and it allows them to open their consciousness to a more creative level. Is this making sense what I'm saying? Okay. A lot of coaching and leadership still does not address a person's autonomy. It's still leaving people open to make someone else into a guru, to, you know, depend on structures and values. And they're giving all that power away to these other things rather than realizing I am the one that creates and sustains everything I'm going through. And therefore I have choices. My choices are not according to values and perspectives and blah, 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 blah. It's according to me. All right. I'll speak a little bit about that later. Also, what we're not doing is we're not saying eliminate the ego, get rid of the personality. We're not saying eliminate fear. We're saying get in touch with your source creator, your source infinite awareness that is beyond personality, and then reconcile that with your personality. Your personality and ego does not go away. But if the ego is in overdrive and in over control, it's going to have you be driven from fear and reactivity all the time. Whereas, so what we're saying is you can be in touch with your essence, but you're still in your body. You still have defaults, preferences, life experiences. So we're joining the essence and the ego together so you are more liberated and nothing is taboo, meaning there's nothing to really fear because you are resilient enough to deal with it and embrace it. It doesn't, you can still fear it, but you also don't run away from it. Is this making sense what I'm saying? It might sound a little paradoxical, or do you have a comment there, Kirsten?
No, yeah, for me, I love these courses. So because what you said there, the resilience you build is the way to deal with realities instead of creating more and more and more and more ideas, and people go back to their reality.
Yeah.
And this methodology to make them adaptable, to change, to
yeah.
So this is what I find really unique. And it's not the what, it's about the how, so that it's very fast and very precise. So Paul, if you didn't do that, you should.
When we focus on resilience, well-being, autonomy, and we are reconciling ego and essence, we're neutralizing the need to escape, the need to search. We're neutralizing all those, what we call reptilian behaviors. Yeah. Because it just keeps, if we don't do that, we're just really overemphasizing this victimhood cycle. We're just trying to like shift all the cards around and really changing nothing. And we might have feel-good sessions, but nothing is really actually changing or transforming. Yeah. So we're focusing not on transformation, but transmutation, which is an alchemical process. This is a different way to think about it. We're taking everything you've got, who you are, and your situation. We don't need to change any of that. It's more a shift in your own consciousness that can then capitalize on yourself and your situation. So then you're not running away from stuff, but you're using the hand you've been dealt. So you become a better player at the game of life. All right? And you're in the game with creativity, resilience. Okay, so think of it more as a transmutation, not a transformation. So if you think you're holding a piece of lead, well, it can also become a piece of gold, right? And it's not about a shift in perspective. It is about a shift in mindset and a shift in the way you're in relationship with things. Okay. Ah, great. Irena, welcome. I'm glad you're here. Hi. Okay, so that's EED. So we can apply this to coaching, leadership, mediation, facilitation, healing, and especially personal growth and the way we personally interact in life with others. So we're going into law of attraction. So what is it, or what are some of the myths out there? We already mentioned some. Here's one thing. It's not passive. A lot of people think, oh, if I just, envision something, I can see that bicycle. Was literally a scene from The Secret. I see that bicycle, and then the doorbell rings and the bicycle shows up. The delivery man's holding the bicycle. It's like, wow, I didn't do anything except I just thought of it. I mean, simple example. You're thirsty. Are you going to sit there and visualize a glass of water? Or are you going to go up, get a glass, and fill it up with water? I mean, come on. So you got to move. You got to do some work. Okay, you got to put some elbow grease into it. All right. It's not magic. Again, meaning passive. Like, oh, I have this ideal outcome, and suddenly, whoa, the universe is just going to give me anything I ask for. I mean, they do say, "Ask and you will receive." I mean, partially true, but it's not just going to give you $1 million when you ask for it. Again, there's some work involved and there's some discipline involved. Okay. And it's not mysterious. There are mechanics to the way this works, and that's what we're going to break down. Now, the other thing is, it is not an escape. Okay. I wish my life were different. Therefore, I'm going to work with the law of attraction to change my whole situation and get out of this shithole. I mean, that's not what it's for, because if we're escaping our reality, we're escaping valuable lessons that we can learn from. And in fact, what we are being presented with may be the way into the new reality, but we don't use the law of attraction to escape what's currently going on. Okay. The other thing I wanted to say is it goes well beyond seeing and believing. Okay. And I mean that in two senses. If you see it, it will happen, right? Or if I believe it, I can achieve it. I mean, true to a certain point, but it goes beyond that. It's more than that. And the other thing is, well, when I see it, I'll believe it, right? There's that other sense where, I want that $1 million, but I don't know if that'll really happen. I need to see it. I need to see it in my hands. Then I'll believe it. Then that law of attraction works. So that's what I mean by the two senses. Okay. It goes beyond doubt. It goes beyond just passively believing or visualizing. What are your comments here? What resonates, or what are some other myths that I may have passed over that you want to mention right here?
I think that the precision is important, that you really have to tell what you want, and then let go of the way it will be open for opportunities, and not stick to an idea and then you cling, and then you're lost in your own dream or limited by your own dream. Okay. So be very precise and then ride the wave.
Okay. That's definitely coming up. It is important to be concrete, specific, have precision and flow. So there's a little bit of a paradox there, and that I'm going to address a little bit later. Yeah. Was there anything else that came up for you guys here before I move on? Oh, go ahead. You're muted, Paul. You have to unmute. Yeah, there you go.
Adapting in the moment, I guess. I tend to be very much a realist, and things, if I'm thinking positively and things aren't going that way, I tend, like Kirsten said earlier, you tend to kind of get more depressed over it. Where just accepting the fact that things aren't going my way necessarily, if I'm thinking positively, but they still can if I adapt that way, and it's just ways of looking at things. And I use the example as every time I buy a lottery ticket, I genuinely think I'm going to win. Just because I don't, it really is no reason to get depressed over it or think that positive energy or thinking that way isn't useful. It's a reality.
Right. Right. Okay. Yeah. That acceptance and adaptability is extremely important, and it's a big thing I'm going to talk about. Okay. So what I want to do is let go of the term law of attraction. Okay. And I want to redefine this because this will help us understand this a little better. So I'm saying, what is it to be a creator? That's basically what law of attraction means, is we are a creator of what's around us, and we are co-creating what's around us. And so we are responsible for ourselves and what we create. What we think, we create, okay? And many times we're creating unconsciously, but we can create consciously, okay? So I'm rather treating this like, if you're an artist, what is it to really create great art? What must an artist be aware of? And it's pretty much the same thing, whether we're creating a reality or a sculpture or a piece of music or a dance, all right? This is where I am coming from, because it adds in other factors, all right? So one, law of attraction, or to be a creator, it is an act of will. It's not just a nice feeling, a wishing, or a hoping. It demands focus, drive, and discipline, all right? And that does not mean it's always going to be easy, okay? Because a lot of times our focus will be tested, our drive will be tested, and that's where the discipline comes in. There's a persistence. There's a patience and a persistence that we have to cultivate. And we need compassion, and we need to be demanding of ourselves. There's a lot of paradoxes in here, because it's like what you were saying before. I need to be adaptable. I can't be too rigid, but I also need to keep my eye on the prize. So it's like, how do we reconcile all of that together? Okay, so that law of attraction is based upon give, receive, an exchange of energy, an inflow and an outflow. One problem a lot of people are having with law of attraction is they're not having that free exchange. Maybe they give, but they don't know how to receive. Or people just want to take, and they're unwilling to give. So there's a block in the energy flow. So we really focus on inflow and outflow in everything that's happening. And law of attraction, or being a creator, is not based upon sitting and waiting, visualizing, hoping, and dreaming. It is about action in response. And this means a creative response. And we're going to talk about what does it mean to be in creative response. So basically, you've been dealt cards. You play those cards you've been dealt. And there's many ways you can play it. You can sit there and say, what a shitty hand. Or you can sit there and say, I'm going to play a really good poker game here and see how far I can go. All right? So before we start changing our reality, there needs to be an acceptance of our current reality. No matter how we feel about it, it's an acceptance about it. It's okay if you don't like your current reality. But to sit there in denial of it, wishing you could throw back the cards or wait for a new deal, you're not going to get anywhere. You can visualize and wish and hope and pray for everything. But without an acceptance of your current reality, you are not in a place to begin creating something new, because you're not accepting the current canvas, so to speak. You can't create a new painting if you don't accept the current canvas that's in front of you. Does that make sense what I'm saying there? Okay.
But it's maybe, a question. So, but of course, it's one thing to buy a lottery ticket. On the other side, so much things in life are not done alone. It's always because you are in relationship with other people.
Yeah.
So the give and receive, what we do in the course is a part of that whole process. So
that's right.
You attract something. My question or my guess or my thought is that you also have to learn to reconcile relationships, do the endowment, to be able to receive, because we receive in 90% from from other people, also in
Yes.
art. You get from the audience, and you go with the audience. And
That's
so
right.
relationship is a huge part for me of law of attraction.
Yes, and we are actually going to dive into that quite specifically and more intricately. Okay, that you're really cultivating relationships with everything, and there's 4 levels of relationships I'm gonna talk about. Now, here's the main thing here. Okay, so buying the lottery ticket, great. That's an action, right? And then you're in, and there's other ingredients that need to be involved with that, okay? And you don't have to put all your eggs in one basket saying, I'm going to buy the lottery ticket and win. I mean, it is possible, but it takes a lot of focus and discipline to do that. I'm not saying you can't redirect reality, but it's not easy. What we're basically doing with law of attraction is we're calling in a new reality. Now, what a lot of people are doing is they're sending something out there and saying, well, I want life to be this way. But what it's really about is you already create the space of that reality within yourself. And it's almost like a vacuum seal. You create this container or this glass, right? It's vacuum sealed, and you create that whole container. Then you must break the seal, open it, and by laws of physics, the new reality comes rushing in. That's a very simple way to think about it. So the question is, how do you create this container? How do you break the seal? Because then by law, the new reality must manifest. Okay? And we'll speak on, okay, what are all the ingredients to be able to do that? Because this is, I think, why a lot of times it isn't working for people, because either they're not breaking the seal or they're not constructing a good container. Okay? How you guys with that? Make sense? Is it logical?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So here we go. So I'm going to look at intentional focus, and there are 4 main ingredients. So notice I've made a target here, right? This is your point of focus, okay? This is what's going to call in the new reality, all right? Now, there are 4 main ingredients here. Most common is creative vision. That a lot of people can talk about, right? What I'm saying here, though, is the vision doesn't belong here. The vision is only one ingredient. And the vision engages your willpower, all right? It's a way to focus your willpower. What you also then need is the fuel to move forward, okay? To empower that vision with emotion. If it's thought alone, the vision will be weak. Emotion is what starts moving the substances around, all right? It's what creates vibration. It's emotion, because emotion is frequency. Thought is also frequency, but emotion creates more movement, all right? So we need emotional drive. If you have a very dry vision, it's not going to be very strong. It can be easily collapsed. If you have strong emotion behind the vision, it's more likely to manifest, it's more likely to sustain, all right? Now, you need a track. There needs to be purpose and contribution. It's not just give me $1 million. There needs to be a rhyme and a reason behind that. There needs to be a sense of fair exchange. Okay, universe, you give me $1 million. Well, what am I giving back? Okay, what's this all for? And it's a fulfilling purpose, not just for yourself, but let's say for the whole universe too, okay? And then finally, there's your own actions in creative response, but this is also meaning you are receiving the reward of the vision. That vision also feeds your well-being. So yes, you can give out to the universe, making contributions, but you're also receiving something back that is life-affirming and nurturing for you as well. So these are the 4 main ingredients of your intentional focus. Any questions on that? And I'm going to break each one of them down into specifics. No, it's okay. Okay. So one of the myths of law of attraction, the way it's been sold out there, is they've only focused on the vision. And sometimes they'll talk about the emotional drive. They're not necessarily talking about the purpose and contribution and your own actions and well-being in the process, okay? So let's look at vision. This is your target. When you're doing an vision, it's the end product. It's just the what. And this does not involve strategy. It's just the end snapshot, okay? I'm running a successful business that brings in 1 million euros a year. That's it, okay? You don't worry about how. When you're broadcasting that message, you don't micromanage the universe to say, I want my 1 million euro business thriving, and here's how I want it to happen. Okay, that's micromanaging the universe. You're putting out the end thought, okay? You can create strategies, but you're not telling the universe how to do it, okay? This is very, very, very important. You're looking at the what. And the what needs to be very concrete and specific. It can't just be, I really need a team of people to help me with my business. That's not very concrete or specific. How many people? What is their function? What exactly are they doing, right? So it's got to be concrete and specific. Otherwise, you're sending out a very ambiguous, mixed message. And if you think, oh, you're going to get exactly what you ask for, if you're sloppy in what you're asking for, you're going to get a sloppy result. Making sense? Yeah, go ahead, Paul. You wanted to say something? Okay.
No, I'm good. I was just agreeing with you.
Now, when you're doing the visualization or you envision this end reality or snapshot, you're coming from the place it is already accomplished. It is already a reality. It is not going to happen. It is already here. That's what creates that container for the vacuum to happen. This is already accomplished. I have my team of 12 people that, you know, are increasing my revenue by €1 million per year. There we go. It's an end vision, all right? And I can even go into my 12 people. I have 2 people in sales. I have 2 people in marketing, 2 people running the social media, blah, 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 right? I know exactly what this is, okay? But it is already accomplished. Another point here.
Is it very important that it's visualized? So that you, so what I thought or how I, so how will I feel and what will, so
this is
from the, so I don't need an exact picture, but so I was more focusing on how I will feel when marketing is running. So it's a big relief and I'm free. So the frequency you create.
That's right. That's exactly why I'm saying you're also visioning it from a place of enjoyment and celebration.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't need the concrete pictures, but the very, very specific feeling and all the emotional context.
For example, I can hold this picture in my head of like a postcard image of I'm drinking a glass of champagne in Fiji. I'm laying on the beach in Fiji celebrating 5 years of a successful business with my team of 12. Okay. It brings in the enjoyment, the celebration, the well-being. It's a feeling of accomplishment. It's not of, oh my God, that was so stressful and I hope that I can get through it, because you may be calling in that stress, fear, and anxiety along with the vision. Do you understand? And you're just creating more obstacles for yourself. So call in the celebration and enjoyment and success at the same time and make it a 5 sense experience. I can taste it. I can feel it. I can see it. I can hear it. All right. All right. I can smell it. So for example, a shaman that wants to make it rain, all right? If they're going to do the rain dance, for example, They want to call in that rain. It's not that they just, imagine, well, it's going to rain. No, they smell the rain on their skin. They smell the rain in the earth. They feel the moisture, and it has already happened. Again, that's what creates the vacuum. It's that 5 sense experience. So it's got to be, you got to engage all your senses, okay, in the vision. It's not passive. And like I said, it's already accomplished. So that future is already present. That future already lives now inside you. So even if you look around and say, I don't see my team of 12, I don't see my €1,000,000, but I am a millionaire and I am the boss of a team. Do you understand? I know who I am. And if I'm taking on that role, I'm creating a dynamic where in order to fulfill that role of I am a millionaire, I am a boss of 12, it must show up so I can fulfill that role. Do you guys understand what I'm saying here? It's not I hope I can be, it's I am. So you're shifting a dynamic. You're creating a role, and the other role must be present in order to complete the dynamic. Okay. Any questions on vision here? No? Just thumbs up? We're good? Okay. So now we'll move on to fuel. This gives you the drive. This gives you the drive to move forward, all right? So there must be a compelling desire. And this means ascend and receive between you and the vision, all right? You're magnetized towards that vision. It's so compelling that it must happen. This is not an obligation where you have to push yourself towards it. It's compelling. So, and you receive the enjoyment. You feel the love, the passion, the enjoyment of this vision. It feeds you just as much as you feed it. So we're putting together strong emotion, like strong desire or strong love or strong passion, plus enjoyment, because the enjoyment is what gives you the least resistance, the least judgment and resistance. Our brains work best in an environment of enjoyment and pleasure. Therefore, we can actually rewire our thinking faster when we are in an environment of enjoyment. And we are naturally gravitating towards things that feed our well-being. So if we're doing something we love, we enjoy, it feels effortless, and we are far more creative and responsive. Is this making sense to you guys? So don't create a vision for yourself that's going to be hard, it's too challenging, it makes me fearful, stressful, and anxious, because you're just programming that into the vision. And you're just creating, like I said, more obstacles, which probably make you end up running away from it. So like I said, it's the drive also feeds your well-being and resilience, and it inspires your strength and creativity. Why this is important is because we're not denying that you may face challenges in creating this end vision. Along the way, there may be bumps and obstacles. But because the desire is so strong and the vision is so compelling, every obstacle you reach or face, you'll see as an opportunity to reinforce your strength and to open your creativity. So it's met with joy, okay? And this is what compels your forward momentum and for you to engage with everything around you, because the universe will throw things at you. And as we'll talk later, it's all meant to help you along, whether you like it or not. So it's this emotional drive keeps you engaged and moving as opposed to hiding. And the last thing that's most important is when you have this compelling desire, this drive, this enjoyment of strong emotion, you are naturally radiant and you are naturally generous. A lot of times people are coming from scarcity and they're saying, I really need that business to work out. I want to be a success, but they're unwilling to be generous with their spirit, generous with their mind, generous with their talents. I tell you, when you are radiant and generous, you are a strong signal that's sending out a strong message. You'll naturally attract attention back to you. Is this making sense what I'm saying? Okay. Any comments or questions here?
I call it like, oh yeah?
No, go ahead. I will go after.
Yeah, go ahead.
Now that's you have to earn the right. So be the change you want to see already.
Yeah. So that has to do with the vision. So I already am the change I want to see. And then, yes, and then I feel it and I enjoy it and I'm radiating that change out. I'm not on a crusade.
And it's so much more than the purpose, and I have to fulfill something, and so it has it. And sometimes you cannot grab it in words why you do it. It's just in you, and you are able to create it, and it belongs to you already. So maybe we have to find the things that already belong to you and just unleash the power of it instead of running dreams that are preconcepts.
Right. Very important what you're saying. And what I'm going to say is you just unleash it. You don't even need to find proof or support. You unleash it. And then as you are unleashing it and radiating it, you will gather more of the proof. That's that vacuum effect, okay? And so this helps you create a strong container, and it's going to help you open that vacuum, all right? And you are also broadcasting naturally. The next thing is purpose. There needs to be purpose here. So yes, because this will affect your daily function and your daily movements. So this is the why. Why am I even manifesting this? Why am I calling this into being? So the way to find out that why is first look into your natural strengths. Look into what you're already unleashing. And from that natural strength, you're going to find a natural contribution. And what I'm saying here is it's a higher contribution. Again, you're doing an exchange with the universe. So fine, you want that $1 million. How is that going to benefit the rest of the world or the rest of humanity, as opposed to just, I need $1 million to survive? Okay, so there is a higher contribution involved. That $1 million is a means for something else that benefits humanity, or it's greater than self or the universe, even if it's just benefiting a small portion of your community, but it's beyond self, okay? It's a contribution beyond self. What that also does is it doesn't have you focus inwards where you're now in a little bubble. You're open. That's what's the higher contribution supports, that radiance and generosity. So there is a give and exchange. You're willing to give to the universe. And in exchange, you're receiving the support that you need in order to give. And yes, there will be challenges and lessons, but when you understand your strength, contribution, your function, what this exchange is, you're welcoming these challenges and lessons because they only reinforce that higher purpose, right? It's not meant as the universe is against me and it's refusing me. No, the universe is assisting you. Even in the bad times, even when they say, no, you're not going to get that job interview. No, your business license was refused. There's reason for it, okay? And in the next thing, when you're in creative response, you'll be able to understand that rather than, because if you're out there saying, hey, universe, you owe me, you're just in for a fight.
But they are so bad in timing sometimes.
Yes.
And so nonlinear.
Yes. So again, everything is working with fractals, higher patterns. Sometimes we can't even understand the pattern. All we see is things didn't work out my way. And if we remain rigid and attached to my way, the how, we stop listening and we stop responding. And that's when we feel like we're in conflict with our reality, okay? if you think back in life and say, oh my God, I really wanted such and such to happen, but now when I look back at it, I'm really glad that didn't happen. Do you understand? Like, I'm glad I was refused this opportunity, because otherwise that could have misled me somewhere. That happens a lot. In the moment when we're putting all our hopes and dreams into something, like, I really want that job, that's the job for me. Well, if we took that opportunity, then we would have not gotten the next opportunity. Sometimes just going for that job we think we want has us learn a few things. Then it's not really that job, it's the next thing that's coming. Okay, I've had that many times before, especially when working as an actor, and I really want that part, I really want this part, I didn't get it, I'm so disappointed. But then something else came up and it was way better, more suited for me than what I originally thought. So you can't be too judgmental of each little particle in the moment. Did you want to add something there, Paul?
That has happened a lot to me lately, and I'm learning.
Yeah.
Every time I don't get something, don't worry. It's for a reason.
Yes.
And, yeah.
Be in creative response to all our rejections. And don't even think, well, did I create the rejection? Maybe. But rather think of what's the lesson inherent in the rejection. What does this, when one door closes, what is actually opening? How can I revisit my strategy? How can I revisit my vision, my emotion, all of that? Revisit things rather than sit and suffer with vengeance, because we want to do that. So the last thing here is reward. What is your reward in all of this? Okay, so no matter how hard things get, no matter how good things get, every action you're doing towards that vision, okay, fueled, that you're fueled by, on track with, every action is a reward. If you hold that thought, that keeps you in creative response. And every action you're doing is in creative response to what's coming at you. Now, how do you stay in creative response? You keep cultivating your resilience. You keep taking everything that's happening and let it feed your well-being. All right? You're in flow and acceptance. So for everything that gets thrown at you, rather than reject it and say, it's not good enough, it's not what I envisioned, take a look to accept it and then be discerning, how I flow with it, okay? Sometimes you're thrown a lot of strange things that your logical mind says, but that doesn't make sense. Why would I talk to that person? Who is this, person sitting beside me? I just went out for a drink. I mean, this literally happened to me where I was producing a show and I thought, wouldn't it be funny if we had a group of male hula dancers? But where am I going to find that? I mean, that doesn't exist. And then that night I went out for a drink and somebody was catching my eye. And so I said, well, I guess I'm supposed to talk to that person. Talk to them. This guy literally had a troupe of hula dancers, male hula dancers. Literally. I didn't know. Normally I wouldn't have talked. I would have just been shut down. But because I was so strong in that thought that I got to find this, and it's part of the show, I literally walked into an opportunity. And if I didn't recognize it, I wouldn't have had that opportunity. So it is up to me to walk in. Okay. So sometimes you do need to be receptive to signs and signals and circumstances, even if they're not logical. Just check it out. Be fascinated. And then with whatever is happening, receive it, reflect, recharge your energies, and then respond. And that is going to give you inspiration. Okay? Receive, reflect, recharge, respond. And remember to always build into your vision, what is the reward you're getting? How does that vision contribute to your own well-being, to your own resilience? Because a lot of people forget that. There's a lot of people that say, oh, I want to make $1 million because it's for the children. I want to save the children. oh, but I don't need recognition. No, I don't need anything. I can live, in squalor and be very, very poor, because it's about the children. So they're unwilling to take something into themselves. They're unwilling to take care of themselves. No, there is a reward. So decide what that reward is, okay? That's very, very, very important. You must take it back into yourself. The universe does not work with martyrdom. It just won't. That's an ego thing. Any thoughts here? Because then I'll go into creating flow. Those are the 4 things. 4 ingredients. Any comments here? Okay.
I find your explanation completely resonates with my life right now.
Yeah.
And I had a moment just a few months ago that I have, nothing is happening good with me. But it was that I worked with some limiting belief behind that I wasn't able to see. That was my blind spot.
Mm-hmm.
When I understood, I say, what can I create with this huge mountain of blind spot? Because the beliefs were, whatever I take is a failure. No matter how much I sacrifice, I don't go anywhere. No, universe can't say me nothing. But when I dissolved this blind spot,
mm-hmm.
things are going to change in an unpredictable way. So the universe is very creative, Troy.
Right, very.
And sometimes things are going beyond my expectation.
Yes.
And because I'm very grateful for whatever I receive, even challenges, because challenges oblige me to think in a more creative way.
That gratitude absolutely reinforces your resilience and your receptivity. And when you are willing to receive the rewards, this means you may have to do some work on self-worth, okay? When you are willing to receive those rewards, yes, that's when you break the seal of the vacuum.
Yes.
But it does come from it. That's why I'm saying it's radiance and generosity and a willingness to receive. It's a send and receive together, all right? And if it's driven by ego, there will be fear or shame or guilt or narcissism or selfishness built in. It's coming from more your fundamental essence, where you are a part of the whole universal exchange, okay? And has nothing to do with I, me, or you, okay? And that's what's going to help open that vacuum seal.
Yes, it's complete in balance. There is
this
sense of balance that it's wonderful.
Absolutely. Okay.
I was
go ahead.
Say one thing, Troy. I was in a workshop this weekend about auditioning, and the guy running the workshop mentioned that he would always go in, and no matter how many times he'd go in for the same show and he wouldn't get it, he was getting down until he took the perspective of some actor is going to get a really good part, and I'm going to be very happy for him. It started to skew his perception, and he just ended up being more positive about auditioning and things like that, rather than having that negativity that it's never him,
right?
That it's somebody.
What that does is it opens the radiance and generosity.
Mm-hmm.
It brings in some gratitude. So he's going to literally look and smell different energetically when he walks in the room.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine you're the director, producer. I walk in the room and I say, give me the part. Like, that's my energy. Give me the part. Or if I walk in the room and say, here's my best offer, and I know you're going to get the best actor.
Yeah. And I'm going to be glad for that person that does get it.
Exactly. There's more of this free exchange. So already I'm more attractive, but at the same time, I'm giving my best creativity, and I'm not attached to it being me. It's more greater than self. Let's make this the best project for everyone all around. Mm-hmm. If I don't fit, that's fine. All blessings to you. I know I'm going to walk into the best part that's meant for me. And that literally changed my cycle of auditions as well when I started to figure that out. Mm-hmm. That if I came in with fear, desperation, clinging, and anxiety, I didn't smell good in the room. Literally, I did not smell good, okay? And I was at my peak performance the more generous I was. I learned this as a pianist, I learned this as an actor, I learned this as a facilitation leader, etc. The more generosity you're coming from, the more creativity just exudes from you. And even when I've worked with some top musicians, top actors, the A-listers were extremely generous with themselves, their time. It wasn't about their calculating, you know, how much am I making? Should I get the close-up? Because there was just such an abundance of creativity coming from them. They loved to mentor, to share, to enhance your performance. They knew you were enhancing theirs. That's that free flow of give and receive. Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up. So first place to go is what's our own energy flow, okay? So imagine that this is a vertical flow of energy through your body, all right? And you can create a flow state. So you can do this if you're playing an instrument, if you're writing, if you're painting. But what's really important is that you're in some kind of action or activity. All right. You could do this in a meditative state, but even then, you're acting upon yourself. So you can have a free flow of awareness and just choose a body center somewhere for yourself. And it's from that center that you're going to start opening resilient energy. You're going to have well-being and creativity. And what you'll allow yourself to feel a sensation. What's the sensation here? And then from that sensation, what is it giving you? And there could be any kind of a unconditional quality. It could be peace, love, unity, limitlessness, creativity, but it's not dependent on anything outside of yourself. This is being generated from within. Whether it's received or tapped into, channeled, or you yourself are the creator of that energy. And you can allow that to circulate through you. And already this starts to open your mind, it calms you down, and it expands your awareness, all right? That's a basic flow state. So you could try this to, sit quietly, let a part of your body speak to you, put all your awareness in there, and then let things just bubble up. And let each thought, image, idea bubble up. Don't judge whether it's positive or negative. And then act upon it. So if you want to do some automatic writing, just write and write and write and flow with the writing. Or play an instrument, but let that energy drive your playing rather than your logical brain. So, how do you get flow and inspiration? It's through congruence and alignment. Meaning, what I'm thinking, doing, feeling, saying, it's all in line. It's not, I want to feel happy, but I feel my body is stressed and I feel sad. Okay, that's incongruence. When we line up our mental, emotional, and physical self, that opens higher inspiration to come through, meaning we can access our higher mind, okay? A higher consciousness. And then when we're flowing, we're always flowing in activity, meaning action response. If I'm playing the piano and I'm in a flow state, I'm responding to the sounds coming at me. I'm responding to the sensation of the instrument. If I'm acting with my scene partner, I'm in constant response to them. I'm not controlling. So there is a participation and a surrender, all right? I'm not in total control, but I'm in response. Okay. We're connecting through our body and listening with our whole being. So this is not about being in the brain. Okay. The function of the brain is to categorize, organize, and edit. So if, let's say, I'm in a flow and I'm writing, I'm not reading and criticizing and editing and judging at the same time. Rather, I'm in a flow state where I just write. Okay? I'm letting the body and the energies do the writing, not my brain, because my brain wants to stop and think and judge and improve stuff, okay? And it might shut down the raw material. It is possible if you're, like say, writing or playing, dancing, whatever, you can still keep the brain on. And if you train yourself to know what it's like to flow, and then how to consciously organize and edit at the same time without interrupting the flow, that's more a superconscious state. But if you're just establishing flow states, go into the flow, shut the brain editor off, okay, bypass it. And then as you get to know how to flow quite easily with pleasure, you could bring the brain back in. I mean, it took me several years to be able to do that, but now I can. But flow state first, and then the brain editor second. It's always secondary. Main thing is you're doing this flow in enjoyment and well-being. That means whatever is taking place, just focus on what is and take pleasure in it. If you're thinking, oh my God, this flow state, it's not very strong, it's not very intense. Well, so focus on what is there. There is some flow. There is some inspiration happening. Take pleasure in that. It automatically amplifies. If we keep judging and qualifying and modifying, we're actually shutting the creative flow state down. And then it becomes self-generating and self-perpetuating, especially when we're in an unconditional place, like it's an unconditional quality, like I'm just in, this is very, very, very peaceful, or I feel connected to everything, or I'm loving what I'm doing here. And it's just this unconditional love, meaning there's acceptance happening, and there's a focus and there's a pleasure. It's just unstoppable at that point. So we can go further when you get this flow state going. I mean, you can let it circulate from your center up to your head, down to your feet, and let your whole body resonate with it. But then you can go further and let that energy spread down into the earth, meaning let it go outside your body. And then let it come back in and let that feed your center of inspiration. And then let it release out into the sky, the universe, and then bring it back in so that you're creating a perpetual flow of letting things go, taking things in, giving something out, and receiving back in. And that enlarges your energetic field. It enlarges your consciousness so that it's not this closed loop, but an open loop that is interacting with the world around you and in relationship with things. When I activate these flow states with my own clients, they always, almost always, 99% of the time, come back with an image of a tree. They feel like they're the trunk, they're well-rooted, they're drawing up vitality, they've got the branches out there, they're broadcasting and receiving inspirations, and it all is promoting their well-being, and they feel in creative flow. Any comments here on flow states, energy flows here? Making sense? This is easy to do. What makes it easy is this: focus on what is and take pleasure in it. And let whatever it is feed your well-being. And stay in response. Stay active and in response. And after a few seconds, it starts to generate. So in fact, you could even take something daily, like 10 minutes a day, to do some kind of pleasurable activity. It could be real simple. Maybe it's some writing, maybe it's playing, maybe it's jumping up and down, maybe it's going for a walk in nature, whatever gives you pleasure. It might even be just, you know, when you're in the shower and just lathering up with soap and you're just taking so much pleasure in the sensation of it. The point is, it's an activity that is not work. You're not trying to accomplish anything, and you're not trying to master anything. It is pure pleasure. And you do that for a certain amount of time, and you're just focusing on the enjoyment and the well-being and taking pleasure and noticing all the creativity and inspiration that comes with it. You don't do anything with the creativity. You just enjoy it because you're opening an access point. If it starts to feel like work, if you start to feel like you're pushing yourself to accomplish, stop the exercise. Clear your mind, then come back to it and start again. One thing that's shutting down our creativity is when we try to get too much control over it, when we put function over flow. Do you guys understand what I mean by function over flow? Like I'm trying to achieve as opposed to flowing. Because when we start functioning and achieving, we also, in a sneaky way, start controlling. And again, we start shutting down the flow and we start manipulating our flow states instead of actually surrendering to it. How are you guys doing with that information? And I don't mean total surrender. What I mean is you're engaged, you're flowing, you're participating, you're also redirecting, but you're also responding. So it's redirection and response, okay? You guys good with that? I'm gonna move quickly here. So then, once we get this flow in ourselves, we can start getting flow in relationship. And again, everything is based on give and receive. Whatever that energetic quality or creativity is, I can give that out to whatever I'm in relationship with, whether it's my idea, my vision, or it's a person or a situation. And let it receive it. It will be affected and it naturally gives something back. So when you are visualizing the target, when you feel like you're visualizing how to be on track, let that emotional well-being, that strong emotion, give the strength and the contributions you're making. Let the world receive it. Let the person receive it and receive something back. Again, that's also opening that flow. It's like we were talking about with the auditions, right? Okay, so I'm going to walk into the audition, give my best, and it's generous. And it's like, have it. Enjoy my audition. I'm enjoying it. Enjoy it too. It's not about give me the part. Do you understand? So there's more of that free flow of give and receive. So now there's an energy exchange happening. Now this becomes more important. We need to take action in the world. Now, these diagrams might look strange, but I'm just showing energy flows here, okay? So here I am at home, in my own little home bubble. I've got my energy flow in myself. I'm flowing in relationship to things. But now, this is how I am in relationship. I can give, receive, I can be in response, and take action. But I must leave home and actually go out in the world and do my work, right? I got to do my appointments. I've got to go run around and do the errands. Whatever is contributing to that vision, all those little actions I do, I've got to go out in the world and do it. So I'm giving something to the world is receiving those activities and energies. Now that world is also giving something back to me, and I need to receive that. Meaning I'm receiving the challenges, the obstacles, and the rewards. And now there's something else that's happening. I'm giving my energy. I need to be receiving energy back from the world. I also need to know when I go out into this world, I spend energy, and at some point I will become depleted. I need to come back home and I need to recharge. This is very important. A lot of people forget about this. A lot of overachievers are so focused on being out here, acting, doing. They forget to take time out, to recharge, reap the rewards, reflect, and then go back out again, okay? I see this in artists a lot. They go out, they do the performance, everything, and then they come back and they say, okay, next performance. They've not received the applause. They've ignored the rewards, the accolades. They said, well, good effort, but not good enough. The next performance will be better. And they're not reaping the rewards or eating the fruits of their labor. Very, very, very important. How are you guys doing with this information? So you're doing a flow of give and receive with the world, your inner actions and your outer actions, okay? It's a balance of sending stuff out and then receiving things back in and recharging so you can send out again. Any questions or comments on that? Or is it, okay, okay. Now, this is another kind of movement, and this is our flow with time. And this has to do with that end vision. So we keep feeding, as we go out into the world, okay, back and forth, this is our daily actions. We also keep feeding that end vision. Feeding our intentions, feeding our energies into that end vision, but then we receive back from it. Like, who is that future self that's already accomplished? Let that future self teach me how to bring that into the present. This future self already overcame certain obstacles. It learned certain lessons. What were those new strengths? Let me take that on now. As opposed to me going out in the world saying, I'm stressed, I don't know what to do. Borrow from your future and bring that back in. Also know your future receives energies from your present self. We forget this a lot. Like, imagine yourself 20 years ago. Sure, there were things you were struggling with 20 years ago, but there's certain things today you may like to recapture from that self that was 20 years ago. Maybe that self was more ambitious, maybe more courageous, maybe had more fun, or maybe they were more humble, or maybe they were more sensitive, or maybe they were in total awe with the world, and you'd love to bring that energy back into today. So have a relationship with your future self and your present self, and let there be a natural give and receive between both. And what can happen is you can collapse now all of that into the present moment. So the present does contain the future, and the future does contain the present. How are you guys doing with this? This might seem a little weird and abstract, but this is more operating on a quantum consciousness level. So it's where all possibilities are encapsulated into now. And that's also encapsulated in this container you're creating, so you can lift the seal and let the universe come rushing in. Are you guys doing okay with this? Any questions or comments?
No, it's good. It's good.
Okay.
Following it somewhat, yeah.
Okay. So the last thing I wanted to share then is, so how do you capture this, that dot in the middle? So we've got our 4 ingredients: your track, your target, your fuel, and your action. Now, how do you encapsulate that into, let's say, a single thought? That's what you keep your eye on. It's the eye on the prize. And one way to do it is through creating a personal mantra, okay? It's like a simple sentence or something you can physically write down that you keep with you always. You keep repeating it to yourself. You keep it in your wallet. It's a physical, tangible thing that you keep with you all the time, and it's running through your system, okay? So you could literally write out something that encapsulates these 4 ingredients. So number 1, whatever you're writing out, it's got to be specific. It can't be generic, okay? I want more money. No, how much? Okay, give it an amount. And by when? Be specific with your time frame. Make it concrete, meaning it's not about negative, positive. What it really is about be on target. It's not, I don't want to be poor anymore. It's, I am rich. Okay. I don't want to be failing at my business. No, my business is succeeding. That's what I mean by positive, negative. Speaking to exactly what it is concretely and specifically. You got that's clear, following that? And when you're writing this out, this is a belief you're constructing and holding for yourself, okay? Next thing is make it present tense. Again, this is an affirmed reality. It's already happening. So it's not, I want to be successful. I am successful. Try that out with yourself, okay? To feel what the difference is, all right? It's not, I want to be, or maybe I'll become, or it would be nice if. No, I am. It is. It's very black and white, it's concrete, it's specific, and it's present tense because it already is here, okay? And you're building into it accomplishment. This is already accomplished. There's no room for failure here. This is 100%, okay? I am a successful business person with a staff of 12 generating 1 million euros per year. And it's easy. It's pleasurable. Okay. It's got the success built in. It's not, I am a business person with a staff of 12 generating $1 million and I'm stressed out of my mind and I have no idea if I'll make it next year. Okay. You don't want to build that in because you're just building in unnecessary obstacles. This is empowerment. This is empowered, meaning I'm saying punishment, praise, but what this really means is worthiness. I am worth this $1 million. I am successful and I deserve that success. I'm earning it, okay? And it feeds my well-being. It makes me feel good. It's not like I'm hanging by my fingernails here and I don't even know if I really deserve it because maybe I'm not that talented or competent enough. No, I'm successful. I deserve it. And I'll fill in the blanks. Like if I need to go take a course or I need to learn this or I need help, I'll go get it. But the point is, I fully deserve this, okay? So empowerment has a lot to do with the worthiness. Is this making sense for you guys? Okay. And last of all, it's an affirmed reality. This is 100% possible. There is no room for doubt. It's okay to say I can strategize around, plan A, B, C, D, E, F, G, but the end vision is that is the reality. No matter what it takes, that's my eye on the prize, okay? I can be flexible. I can be adaptable. But if there's that 1% of maybe it's not going to happen, then it just won't. Because we tend to make the 1% 100%. How is this for you guys? And I have personal experience of this where one little shred of doubt actually magnifies, and that's what flips the reality. It's 100% full right of conviction, and that's what you're designing in here, okay? And this is not only thought, but this is felt, that it's 100% possible.
Yeah, in the past, when I have believed that I can get something done and put my mind to it, it's always come to fruition.
Yeah.
Especially by when you said being specific, breaking it down into specific tasks to get there rather than just the whole goal. Mm-hmm. I find that when you break it down into tasks, if you fail at one, you just know that you can just move on to the next. You can move on to the next, and you can keep going. You can keep going forward rather than I failed at one, the whole ship collapses.
Right.
And I feel if you break it up into specifics, into tasks, you tend to do them because they're smaller. Mm-hmm. They're more achievable when you set a whole goal. For me personally, procrastination just sets in. Mm-hmm. It's so far down the line that I can't see myself accomplishing that. But I can see myself accomplishing these specific goals, and I always accomplish my end goal when I do it that way.
That's great. What you're saying is we can work on a large meta level, like here's my end goal, like say for 2025, Then we can strategize, break it down into smaller steps, but we can create these mantras for each of those steps as well, right? So you can have mini mantras with the big one. And again, it's what this is doing is reinforcing that 100% full right of conviction. This is a reality, come hell or high water, and and it's feeding my well-being, it's feeding my creativity, I'm enjoying it. And that 100% possibility has you embrace all the challenges. Just because things didn't go the way you thought does not mean it's still not possible, right? Yeah. And that's what engages your creativity. And I have had personal experience too. When it's a 100% affirmed reality, it just can't help but happen. I literally had an experience with this. You might remember this, Paul, too, because I was in Vancouver at that time. I very passionately had put out a deal with the universe saying, you know, I want $25,000 and I know exactly why, what it's for. I had a special project in mind. And I said, I don't know how it's going to happen, but I need this 25,000 in my hands. And I had the purpose, I had the vision, target, all of that, and strong passion. And then it came about where I was going to move from Vancouver to Toronto. And then an opportunity came up for a movie. And this was the Scary Movie 3. And my agent phones up. She says, I'm going to put you out for this movie. And I said, well, when is it shooting? She goes, it's shooting on these dates. I said, I can't do it. I'm moving to Toronto. There's no way. I'd have to delay my move, this and that, blah, blah, blah. I'm getting rid of my apartment. I said, no. And she goes, no, I'm putting you in anyways. And this was a bit of a reverse thing because I was trying to resist this, but I was being pulled into that flow. And it was afterwards that I realized I had made such a strong deal that I just kind of fell into this vacuum. And I tried everything. I tried to mess up the audition, the part. They loved me. They hired me. My end paycheck was basically $25,000, which I realized later. And then I said, uh-oh, I made a deal. I've got to fulfill my promise. And so I had to go ahead and do my special project, which I did. And it ended up actually starting EED, Emergent Essence Dynamics. So, you know, but it was from a strong intention. And what I want to say here is that 100% possibility is in your subconscious mind. It's in your fundamental being. This is not in your logical mind, like, oh, I wish, I hope, I pray, and I think, therefore I am. No. It's felt. It's a completely felt experience, okay? And for me, what I was experiencing in that example was my conscious mind was saying, no, refuse it. My fundamental being was saying, no. You're hardwired into this. Because deep down, I really wanted that part. I just didn't know how to make it work because I thought I was going to create chaos in my life if I took it. And remember, I had no home, Paul, for like a few weeks in order to do that movie. And I actually stayed at Paul's place for a while. Yeah. So it was a big upheaval. But the deal pulled through, and it was really from that 100% full right of conviction. And my conscious mind was resisting, but my fundamental being was flowing with it. So it's kind of an interesting and weird example, but it worked. Yeah. Anyone with questions, comments? Claire, yes. I know we're kind of at time here. Hi.
How does the mantra that you're talking about relate to the flow state? Like how does one kind of feed into the other?
It's by being present. When we say it's empowering, it's accomplished, it's affirmed, it's feeding your well-being. It's bringing in enjoyment. You've got to remember that it feeds back to your own personal reward, not of a money reward, but and not of a personal satisfaction. But no, this actually nurtures me. This actually nurtures my strengths, my creativity. And even just by repeating this mantra to yourself, you're already feeling that flow state, that enjoyment, that pleasure, that reinforcement of strength. Just the words themselves are already magnetizing you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely.
So you build it in. So for example, it could be, it's 2020, I'm enjoying a glass of champagne on the beach in Fiji, celebrating, my first year of success with my leadership consulting business, right? It could be built in like that. And I know, Claire, you came in a bit late, but you'll get the recording and you can review what we talked about before, because we explained all these 4 elements. You can write that down for yourself. What you want to do is just, whatever you're doing in your mantra, look to see how you can clean it up. Is it a little generic? Is it not really focused on actually what you're going for? Is it in present language? Is it built in for success? Is it built in for worthiness and praise and well-being? And then it's a reality. As you repeat this to yourself, every time you look at it, it's there. Don't compare to the world out there to say, is it here yet? No, it's here because you're the container, okay? And the universe comes rushing in, but you've got to break that vacuum seal, okay? That's really, 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 really key. Very quickly, we've got the EED courses coming up in April in Munich. We also have one coming up next weekend in Paris, and then again in the fall. I will open up some courses in Toronto, but probably not until June or the fall. And then we also have our Reconciling Conflict course in Frankfurt. I'm going to open a special deal where, for those of you in Europe, if you come and take Module 1 in Munich, you can also then come and take the Conflict course. So take a look at that, and take a look at our website, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and you can always email me at info@essence-dynamics or Troy at essence-dynamics. And I hope you enjoyed this presentation. I'd love to know what your final thoughts are or what you're walking away with. And by the way, most of this stuff that we learn in Module 3, but it's all introduced in Module 1, especially how to open up your creative flow, feed your well-being, the resilience, and be in a resilient flow in relationship. And that's 90% of this stuff. The visioning and that you know how to do, how to get on purpose, but it's how to be in creative response. I think that is the biggest challenge for a lot of people. How to come from resilience, autonomy, and creative flow. Any final thoughts or comments? And I'd love to know what you're walking away with.
I'm leaving here with just feeling very switched on about writing some mantras and saying them every day.
Awesome. Awesome. Great. Anyone else?
I guess for myself, to not force my life into a certain path, just to go with the flow, and be positive about where it takes me.
Yeah, and let everything, find the way to transmute every situation so that it is feeding your well-being. Mm-hmm. If we keep thinking the world is our enemy, then we're just going to be in a constant fight, and we're just creating more resistance, right? And we could be blindsiding ourselves. So yeah, acceptance of the current reality. That's what I said right at the beginning of the webinars. That's one of our biggest first steps. Mm-hmm. And enjoyment actually transmutes very easily. We can go from frustration to enjoyment very fast. And believe me, I know when I was a concert pianist, I'd get so frustrated with trying to master my music and all that. And as soon as I switched into enjoyment, suddenly my technique opened up, the musicality opened up. But I'm not denying frustration, but transmute the frustration, the creativity. Kirsten, you had something?
Yeah, for me it's so thank you, and I'm always like this goal work, this vision work can put people into huge polarities. So this can really become a self-entertaining game, like, oh, there's the goal, oh no, it's too much, I can't do that. So coming back to the resilience in the I don't want to call it goal work or visioning, or to come from resilience on the path. Maybe it's the path, and and the journey. And sometimes you don't know where it will end, but you know how you feel when you are there.
Yeah.
And from my personal life, all these goals, I knew in a way in the first moment that this will go or this will not go. And all the ones I had this spark of, they didn't become real.
Yeah.
All the others where I thought, no, this is impossible, you don't deserve, blah, blah, blah. But I had this feeling of, yes.
Like a fundamental magnetism.
Maybe sometime later.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And with these sparks, you can work like hell, and you get energy instead of burning out yourself.
I think what I'd like to even leave you guys with is stop insisting on knocking on the same doors, right? For every door that slams in your face, there's 100 other available open doors, but we keep insisting, no, I have to open that door. That's the door I have to open. God damn that they refuse me. And we get so stuck to that. We, pay attention to what is fundamentally magnetic and start choosing those and working with those. And you can try all the doors, but keep moving, and keep moving with joy, keep moving with love, and let yourself be frustrated, but come back into the creativity and the joy and the love. Yeah. And because I used to do this, and I still do it. I think I've got to bust down that door, that one door. And I'm like, but what about all the other doors? Right? So yeah, it's good that you say that, Kirsten. And that's how we can balance ourselves out from getting burnt out. Because sometimes we're pouring our energies into almost a futile place, when if we just step back, look around and say, well, where else can this energy go? Right? We may end up accomplishing the same things, just sooner, with more joy and precision.
And seeing opportunities you never thought about, because we are not intelligent enough to think about these ways. Like, oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, exactly. Irena, did you have anything you wanted to say as final comments?
Oh, anytime is wonderful being here, because there are many things I'm reflecting on around my current situation, and there are things that are going to be solved. And I think definitely, and I understood that to resolve things, you open up other doors.
Yes.
Because you have to make peace with what's going on. For example, I can say debt in my case, debt of my family, but in this moment I am the person that have to take the responsibility, and I was scared about that. Yeah. But I think, what is the teaching here? Because I have a greatest project in my mind that is related with my past. And I understood that the doors that were closed for a reason, because I have to build more experience, have more credential, because it's a great project around counterterrorism. And I need to understand how to put myself in the place, and I use the tools that you explain instinctively. And having this training was amazing. I didn't even count the time, and I say, oh, it's already finished. I enjoyed your explanation. It was in the flow. Yes. Awesome. And it was wonderful as always.
Well, thank you very much. And thank you to all for joining. You'll all receive a recording as well as a follow-up email. So, and again, as a last final plug, if you want to learn more about this, on the specifics and the techniques and how to really make this work in detail, come join us in Munich or in Paris, or when we open courses in Toronto, come join us there. And the next one is April 5th in Munich and March 15th in Paris. And our next webinar will be on March 20th. And it's on the art of provocation, how to provoke and create more truthful and transparent responses in relationship. And what's happening is I'm going to shorten the webinars now to 60 minutes as of March 20th onwards, because I'm doing less broad subjects and now things that are a bit more specific. So we'll only do it for 60 minutes. So, so thank you everyone for being here. And if you wish to hang around after with more questions, feel free. I'm just going to stop the recording now. So thank you everyone for joining, and thank you everyone for listening.